Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it's going to be Mega Turrican for the Sega Genesis. Developed by Factor 5, surprisingly. The Turrican series is a long-running franchise that was actually not created by Factor 5, but they would eventually come in and create a handful of their own new versions of, or new entries in the Turrican series, including Mega Turrican on the Sega Genesis, and Super Turrican 1 and Super Turrican 2 on the Super Nintendo. All pretty awesome games. I would say that Mega Turrican is probably my favorite, though. It's the one I put the most time into, and it's just the one I have the most personal attachment for. I'm going to eventually, hopefully, cover Super Turrican 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo, just probably not in the near future, but it will happen one day. So if you're looking out for those games, they will eventually appear here on my channel. Mega Turrican is actually a game I discovered in the late 1990s, and just fell in love with it almost instantly. It just played very well. It was pretty straightforward. It wasn't as complex, I guess you could say, as the earlier Turrican games. The earlier Turrican games kind of put me off because the levels were super huge. They just weren't all that fun to me. But Mega Turrican just kind of like tidies things up. It presents the old Turrican formula, but in just, I think, a tighter, more streamlined package. And it also is visually awesome, and it sounds amazing. It's got easily one of the best soundtracks from the 16-bit generation, and that's no joke. I'm not exaggerating when I say this soundtrack is amazing. It's easily got many of my favorite tunes from that era, and I feel like a lot of people agree with me as well. It's a very highly regarded soundtrack done by Chris Holzbeck, who did lots of amazing soundtracks back in the day, and actually I think still continues to do work in the games industry today. And yeah, his soundtrack is amazing in this game. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna play through this game on the default normal difficulty mode. You can change it up to hard mode if you want, which I don't think I've actually ever played this game on hard mode, come to think of it. So what I'm gonna have to do sometime is try to do a run on hard mode and just kind of see how that works. That'll be interesting to do. You probably want to leave rapid fire on. If you leave it off, you're gonna tap the buttons to fire, and it's a little more cumbersome, I guess I would say. So leave rapid fire on, and these are your controls. There's actually a few controls missing here, so I'm actually using a 6-button controller. You've got A for rope, B for fire, C for jump. However, X, Y, and Z activate your screen clearing bombs, which are really important. They're very, very powerful. So that's something that doesn't pop up here on the screen. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go through the game on normal, and I have to say I'm not an expert at this game anymore. You know, I played it a lot back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but up until a couple weeks ago, I haven't really played it much since, and so, you know, I've been trying to warm back up to the game and get used to it again, so we should probably one credit clear this game without a problem, because you get a ton of extra lives. But, you know, I'm by no means an expert at this game, so don't expect, like, the super play level, you know, skill here. But also, before we jump into the video itself and the game, as usual, I want to give a big shout out to my current Patreon backers, so they're going to go ahead and fly by the screen. Thank you guys for your continued support. I really, really appreciate it. And for those guys that provided super chats via the live stream, they're going to flash by the screen as well. So thank you guys for your direct donations on my live streams as well. I live stream it here every Friday night now on YouTube, so feel free to come into those live streams and hang out and say hello. So let's go ahead and hit exit and jump right into the game. It's just going to toss you straight in, and that's pretty much it. So again, you've got C jumps, you got B for fire. You can also hop on enemies in this game, very much like the early Turrican games. You got multiple types of firepower here. So this is the rebound attack. The red spread shot, or the orange spread shot, is actually my favorite in the game, so we're going to be using that for most of the time. You can also, if you're ducking, you can press C to go into this ball form right here. And if you press B when you're in this ball form, you'll actually drop some missiles as well. Now, if you look in the top right-hand portion of the screen, you've got multiple meters. The top multicolored meter is your health bar, and the bottom meter, the silver meter, is actually for your ball mechanics. You can see how the meter is dwindling as I stay in this mode. Now, you're very resilient as this ball, but you also utilize that meter, and when it runs out, you can't go into your ball form anymore. So something to keep in mind. You kind of want to save this form for when you really need it, or if you're just trying to rush through certain sections really quickly. It does recharge over the course of the game, so you will get it back as you complete levels and so forth. And then A is the rope mechanic. So the rope mechanic is actually really important in this game as well, especially if you're trying to get as many point icons as you can and as many secrets as you can. So you'll notice, like, over here, you can press A to use your rope, and you can swing around kind of Castlevania 4 style. And let's see if we can get our rope up here. But yeah, so basically using your rope helps you get to different secret areas and whatnot, so you can use your rope to get up here. And this is how I access this secret area to get that one up that I picked up. In the bottom right hand portion of the screen, you've got your screen clearing bombs. And you can pick up a variety of those throughout the course of the game. What you're going to see me doing is saving those until I really need them. And we're going to use our rope ability again to get up here. Let's actually kill these guys first if we can. So the rebound shot is actually pretty good. You'll notice that it's got these vertical shots that will bounce along the floor. So very, very useful stuff here. And let's go ahead and actually... Oops, I missed it. I wanted to get that spread shot. Not a big deal. Alright, so Turrican, Mega Turrican has a series of mini-bosses and so forth, along with normal bosses. And this is our first mini-boss here. We just have to hit him in the head. And the rebound, wow, is really powerful against that guy. I normally use the spread shot, and it takes a little bit longer to kill him. But that rebound, man, that did some really good damage. That was really nice. So in this level, you got to watch out for these turrets that sit on walls. They kind of blend into the background a little bit, so you can easily take some damage from them if you're not careful. And I think there's going to be a couple of them over here as well. So these guys, unfortunately, they go up into this ball mode, and when they're in this ball mode, they're pretty much invincible. And so you have to wait for them to come out of their ball form in order to kill them. And here's the rope mechanic again. Like I said, we're going to be using this rope mechanic a lot. And there's actually going to be a couple of secrets over here. Let's go back up. Okay, no secrets here. And we're going to fall down here, though, for a couple of secrets. For one, you can come up here, and unfortunately I mistimed it. It's kind of like a trash compactor facility or something like that, and you'll notice that there's just tons of objects falling down. Ooh, got the one up. Good. Let's just wait for this stuff to go by. There we go. Fall back down like this. And there is a secret over here. You can go through this wall and then use your rope mechanic again to get back up here. So one of the great things about this game, this was, you know, one of the awesome things about the Turrican series in general, is just tons and tons of secrets. And as far as secrets go, I don't think I know how to get that box down there. On this first set of stages, by the way, if you get all the gems and all the one-ups and secrets and things like that, you'll actually get to an alternate hidden level on this stage. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get to it. I think I've gotten to it just once or twice in the past, and that was back in the day when I, you know, knew more of the secrets and things like that in this game. But, so unfortunately, we probably will not get to see that. But there are some neat little secrets like that over the course of the game, which is pretty cool. And the game's got just a lot of platforming like this. You know, it's an action. It's what I would call an action platformer, where it's an action game, but it's also about the exploration. It's not just about the action. You know, it's not. It is linear, but it's a little non-linear at the same time in that you've got lots of different alternate paths you can take for hidden secrets and things like that. While the main path is pretty basic and pretty obvious, you do have lots of things off the beaten path. Now, a mechanic here you have to watch out for is you don't want to get crushed by these things. You will die in one hit. So there is a crushing mechanic, unfortunately. And I was just kind of curious if there was anything down there, and there's not. So yeah, like I said, the rope mechanic is really cool. You can use it to try to, you know, explore and try to see if there's secrets at places. Oh, that's the box I was looking at. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so we were actually above there, and I was looking at that box saying, I don't know how to get that box, but it turns out it was just actually on the normal path, which was nice. And this is an elevator section. We're going to go down. And we're still on the first level. There's going to be a whole other section to go to, and then we're gonna fight our first boss. So while this level has been pretty straightforward, there are a couple later levels in the game, which are probably my least favorite stages, that just are really, really open. They're really, really long. Fortunately, the levels do have these arrows that tell you if you're going the right way, which is nice. So that's something I like about those later levels is, you know, they can get very confusing. They can be very daunting to deal with, but fortunately there is a mechanic that basically tells you where to go. Okay, let's see if we can attach our... Yeah, there we go. Cool. So in the earlier parts of the game, I'm going to be going for secrets and things like that. In the later parts of the game, I am not. I'm going to be taking the levels a little bit faster, just because, again, the levels become much bigger, much more difficult to deal with. Let's see if we can attach our way up here. Very nice. So you can see how the rope mechanic is just very, very useful in this game. Even if you get stuck, you can use your rope to, you know, to get your way back up. So this is a secret here as well. And you can see how many extra lives we're getting. We're already up to 9 lives in this game. I think my highest life count going through this game recently was about 19 at the end of the game. And that's with dying a few times. So we would have had, you know, 20-something lives. So it'll be interesting to see how many lives we end up with on this playthrough. It should definitely be interesting. So yeah, this secret right here is actually kind of tough to get. You got to use your ball form at the right time. And if you don't use it at just the right time, you'll get rejected, and you'll have to try it again. Alright, this is our first boss. And we did not get the alternate secret level, unfortunately. We didn't get all the gems, so that means we missed some secrets. And so basically what's going to happen here is an eyeball is going to appear, and that's basically the weak spot. So here we go. And this part actually kind of reminds me of Castlevania Bloodlines. On the very first boss on Castlevania Bloodlines, there's an object at the top that you can actually whip onto. And, you know, I really like the rope mechanic because it kind of brings me back to Castlevania a little bit. It makes me think of Castlevania 4 and the Super Nintendo, and a little bit of Castlevania Bloodlines as well. But more so Castlevania 4, because on Castlevania 4 you can whip onto these rings, and you can just hang there and just swing back and forth like you can in this game. It's really cool. Alright, so this is level 2. This is actually a pretty tough level. So, lots of endless pits on this one. There's going to be some waterfalls that do some damage. But there are some interesting secrets that you can get as well. So what we're going to do is just try to take things slow if we can. So here's our first waterfall. Oops, I messed up. If you sit on these platforms for too long, they start to turn. And when they start to turn, you can't sit on them anymore. See? You automatically fall through. So we just lost our first life. Like I said, you know, this isn't going to be an expert playthrough by any means, but, you know, we should still have a pretty good run overall. But we will die. We will absolutely die in this game. It's actually tough to get through this game without dying because of how the projectiles come out of enemies, and so forth. You have to take things really, really, really slow to get through the game without taking damage or without dying. Parts like these could be tough. Constant waterfalls coming down. You got to get the pattern just right to not take damage. But you do have a lot of hearts that you pick up. Hearts actually refill your health. So when you see a heart in this game, definitely grab it. Hearts are your friend. And I always forget about this jump right here. This is a very, very tight jump. Very, very, very tight jump. Actually, one of the tightest jumps in the game, actually. But one of the nice things about this game is I never feel too I never feel too disadvantaged by dying in this game because there's power-ups around every corner. And I guess one of my only complaints with the game is that you max out your firepower very, very quickly. It only takes about 2 or 3 pickups to max out your firepower. So our red shot right here is maxed out. It's only a double 3-way shot, whereas some other Turrican games like Super Turrican and Super Nintendo have a much wider spread. So it actually takes a little bit longer to get fully powered up in that game, which is kind of nice. It's nice having really big, awesome firepower. So there's going to be a couple secrets kind of like this right here, where there's going to be walls you can just go through. Another extra life, and we can come back down through here. Now there's going to be some of these like electric eel enemies that are going to basically zap the water, so you have to make sure you're out of the water. And let's go ahead. We'll just stick with the multiple shot. I like the spread shot. And there's this enemy here. What we're gonna do is actually just sort of sit up here like this, above water. One of these boats is gonna fall down below, actually, so we have to watch out for that. And I think this is actually an extra life down here. Yep. And we just got a heart, so we got all of our health back. Alright, so another secret right here. You notice that you can actually go up through here. So what we're going to do is use our rope and see if we could swing our way up here. Just like that. Another extra life. And I'm going to say this is probably a power-up down here as well. Let's see what we got. Another 1-up. Like I said, this game is just absolutely littered with 1-ups. So we're up to 11 lives already. And this is going to take us down to a little bit of a non-linear section. Now, there is a direct path you can take to get to the boss fight. But you can also explore off the beaten path, like I said, to find secrets and power-ups and things like that. So we'll go ahead and do that for this level. We'll find some secrets. And we're going to go ahead and just stick with the spread shot here. So to find secrets in this game, you can always just shoot all the walls that you come across. And if your projectile goes through walls, then you know you found yourself a secret. Alright, looks like we just picked up a shield as well. The shields are really good because, well, they block you from taking damage, which is nice. They protect you from damage. And this is back to the beginning, so we're going to come back down here. I'm going to take it nice and slow because I'm running low on health. Good, another heart. Very good. Alright, back down here. And there's going to be a secret right here. Another extra life. 13 lives. You know, we've already died a couple times, but we still have 13 lives. It's just absolutely insane how many 1-ups there are over the course of this game. So if you're the kind of person that likes to get 1 credit clears on games, I know I have a few people that watch here that really like to go for the 1cc's, basically beating a game without getting a game over or continuing. This is a pretty easy game, the 1cc, so I would definitely recommend adding this one to your to-do list if you want to try to 1cc as many games as you can. But it's also kind of why I want to try hard mode and see what hard mode entails. See how much more difficult it is compared to the normal game. Because as you can see, we've got 14 lives now. And the standard game really isn't that much of a challenge. Now, don't get me wrong, there's lots of places where you can die very, very easily. And if you're very lazy, you know, you're going to get overwhelmed eventually and get a game over. But if you're taking it relatively slow, and if you're relatively familiar with the game, kind of like I am right now, it's really not that difficult of a game. I really feel almost anyone should be able to beat this game with just a little bit of practice. And we're intentionally going for the secrets too. You know, if you go for the secrets, you do get rewarded with all your extra 1-ups and things like that. There's another 1-up. That was a hidden 1-up right there. So we're up to 15 lives. Now you do have to watch out for your timer, so you can see at the top we've got 180 seconds left, but we've cleared out most of this level, so it's pretty much we just have to go straight forward now to the boss. There's not much left to explore. So down here is the way to the boss fight. And a heart, and another laser power-up. The bosses in this game, for the most part, are pretty basic, up until the last couple of levels. This guy's no exception. You just have to whack him in the eye. And we're gonna go ahead and come down here. If I wanted to, I could use my bombs, but, ooh, that was bad. Some of the hit detection can be a little weird in this game as well, so you gotta be really careful. And I think we can get behind him like this. And then get over like so. And that's it. Easy boss. Alright, so this is a pretty short little section here. Constant movement. You just gotta make sure you land on these platforms. And it is pretty easy to die here. It's hard to tell which way you have to go, so you've just gotta keep a good eye out on everything around you. There's one section here where one of these actually drops. Like right here. I think it was that one I was just on. It'll actually, the chain will snap and you'll fall to your death if you're not careful. Alright, this is probably one of my favorite levels in the game. Not necessarily because of the level design itself, although it is pretty straightforward. It's mainly the music. I just really love the music on this set of stages. And here's a boss that's actually also appears in Super Turrican on Super Nintendo. So you can actually tell that you're doing damage in this game, by the way, to enemies by the little tink 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 sound. This is very little light, faint, high-pitched sound that happens when you hit enemies in this game, and you actually do damage. So as long as you're hearing that sound, you know you're doing damage. And let's see if this is a heart. There is a heart. Good. Good. Got our health back. Almost died there. Very, very close to death. And this guy, you just gotta shoot him in the arms. And I want to save my ball form here because it's needed for a secret on the next set of screens. Bam. And here we go. Probably my favorite tune in the game. Come to think of it, I need to add more Mega Turrican music to my game music channel. I have a game music channel that I split off from my main channel here many, many years ago. I used to post just random stuff on my main Gameplay and Talk channel here. Before I changed it to just Gameplay and Talk, I would post game music and stuff like that. One of the tunes I had was from Mega Turrican. And I currently have one tune split off on my game music channel. I need to add more. Yeah, so you basically just have to hit this guy in the head. You know, again, you can hear that faint, high-pitched sound letting you know that you're doing damage, and you'll notice that it's doing it when I hit him in the face. Yeah, so this level is pretty straightforward. It's just a series of boss rushes, one after another. Or, it is like a boss rush series. It's just one boss after another, with just a few very small sections. That's weird. Those balls are bouncing, but they're just going right off the screen. Huh, that's weird. Okay, so this is where one of our secrets is. We're going to come up here and walk through here. And be very careful not to take too much damage. So enemies will respawn in this game, so you gotta watch out for that. It's not one of those games where you'll clear a room and it'll be done for good. So in this part in particular, you've got to be very careful, because a lot of these like spiked balls that are bouncing around will come back. And a lot of these small guys will come back too. Notice like the little small guys that I can hop on, they also shoot. So you gotta watch out for projectiles coming your way as well. It's just the sort of thing where you want to take things really slow, watch out for the bullets. And we're going to go ahead and use our ball form again to go down here. And this is why I wanted to save the ammo for it, or the energy for it. And we've got this wrecking ball we've got to watch out for. Another one up. We're up to 20 lives right now. And we're going to have to get up top now, so watch out for the wrecking ball once again. Got a heart. Very good. And we just climb our way back out. And we've got a homing missile. We can just sort of let that do the work for us. Got another heart. I'm always on the lookout for those hearts, because the hearts is what kind of keeps you alive, and it kind of keeps you from not losing too many lives. I'm going to go ahead and just actually keep the laser. And this boss, what we can do is actually just sit right in front of him, and then watch out for his arm that comes crushing down. But you want to be on top of him when he does his flame attack. Okay, so that left area does not open back up. Alright, our flying guy with the arms is back again. So I'm really interested to try hard mode now because, you know, like I said, the game is not that tough on normal mode, especially these bosses. The bosses are usually the easiest parts that you have to deal with. It's usually the levels themselves that are the most dangerous and stressful. Alright, and this is our main boss fight. Basically, you just have to destroy this arm up top. It comes down and grabs this garbage. And you gotta watch out for these items that bounce along the bottom of the screen. Not a very interesting or complex boss. Probably one of my least favorite bosses in the game, actually. And that's it. Alright, so this is where the levels really start to open up. And these are some of my least favorite stages in the game. Because of their, you know... Whew! Just had a brain fart. I'm just completely out of it right now. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of these stages because of just the overall sheer size of them, kind of like the confusing nature of them. But also, you'll notice that the soundtrack has just taken a nosedive completely. So that good, you know, catchy, high-energy stuff we had leading up to this point is no more for the next couple of stages. So that's another reason why this is one of my least favorite parts of the game. But we'll persevere. You'll notice that there's a little red arrow that's pointing us in the right direction. Not that there's really a whole lot of other places we could go to right now, but still. So you want to watch out for that arrow as you're playing through this this level. It'll really make things much easier. There are a couple of sub-stages or subsequent stages coming up that are a part of this this stage that are a little more linear, but they do require some more precise platforming. So we're going to use our rope ability again, quite a bit on this level actually. And I'm just going to follow the arrow, so the arrow is pointing to the left. We're at 22 lives, by the way. Phew, it's crazy. And just come over here like so. If I see some gems, I'll pick them up. And I'm trying to figure out the way to go. Okay, it says to go down, so we're going to go ahead and go down after we come here. These guys take a lot of damage, so if you can get them stuck on something, that's the way to deal with them. But, oops, I was going to say I was going to go with the rebound power-up to see how that works for me. I have no need for that heart yet. Okay, here's our rebound. So you can see how these levels are designed after... Oh, they definitely took influence from the Alien series of films. It was actually kind of funny. It was very common for video games to do that back in the day, with notable games like Contra doing it. And actually, I think there's a set of secrets down here. Yeah, you could fall down there to pick up some power-ups. You know, if there's easy secrets, I'll go ahead and take care of them. But you notice that you get a ton of time on this level. So the level is just very, very large, very easy to get lost, but there is lots of secret potential here. So if you're the kind of person that just likes to go off the beaten path, you might really enjoy this stage. You get a whole lot of extra time to compensate for the bigger stage area and the greater amount of secrets. And there's actually a set of secrets up here. Well, not secret, it's plural, but there's a secret up here you can try to get. So one of these things, right, this one right here, you actually fall through. I guess it wasn't really a secret, but it was a little gimmick I wanted to talk about. So if you try to get those gems, you will have to make sure you jump. Let's see if we can kill this guy like this. Nope. See if we can just jump over these guys one after another. You gotta watch out for these guys in the floor as well that just spit out objects. Alright, another heart. That's good. And on to the next level. So there's going to be another level like this that we're going to have to go through again after we go through this more linear section. So this one has a lot of obstacles. You got fire being spat out. The fire does some decent damage to you, so watch out for that. You're going to have a lot of precision platforming here as well. I remember back in the day when I first played this, I lost a lot of lives on this level. Because I wasn't really used to the platforming. And the platforming to Mega Turrican could be quite tricky, honestly. Let's wait for this fire to come up, just like so. And again. Oh, we died. I thought I could hop on that alien, but it didn't work. I took damage instead. Alright, lots of precision platforming here. The 3D look that they use here can make platforming on these things a little difficult. You'll notice that it looks like I'm just hanging off the edge, like I'm floating in midair. That's because of that three-dimensional style of visual style they went for here. It makes the platforming just feel very awkward. So probably not my favorite part in the game in terms of platforming. I mean, I actually personally don't mind it that much these days, but it really was a pain to get used to when I first played this many years ago. Another one up, back to 22 lives. Alright, there's gonna be a boss fight here. All you have to do is just destroy the objects floating around this thing. And that's it. I wouldn't waste your bombs on this, I would just take your time, destroy these things, and that's it. Jump over them if they come right at you. And that's pretty much it. Now we're just going to shoot this guy. Very, very simple boss. And that's it. 23 lives. And I'm basically just going to follow the arrow here. It's a very exciting level, isn't it, guys? Not a whole lot to talk about right now. So I should probably just try to talk about something. How about that? You know, I'm actually kind of curious. I was thinking about this over the course of the playthrough. I kind of want to know what Turrican 3 is like. If any of you guys out there have played it, let me know what that game is like. I was actually doing a little bit of research before doing this video, and found out that Mega Turrican on the Genesis was actually a brand new Turrican game by Factor 5, built from the ground up for the Mega Drive. But it was later converted over to other computer platforms as Turrican 3. I was always under the impression that Turrican 3 was the original game, and this was just like a sort of a mishmash of a port. But no, it turns out it's the opposite. Mega Turrican was built from the ground up for the Mega Drive, and later ported to computer platforms as Turrican 3. So if any of you guys have played Turrican 3, so I want to say it's probably on the Amiga, maybe Atari ST, I forget which platforms exactly it was released on, but it was computers. Let me know how it compares to this one. The Turrican series actually can be really, really confusing as well. You know, there's Super Turrican and Super Turrican 2, developed by Factor 5 for the Super Nintendo. But Manfred Trenz, the original developer of the very first Turrican, and thus its sequel, Turrican 2, also made a game called Super Turrican, not on the Super Nintendo, but on the Nintendo Entertainment System in Europe. Not released in North America, if I recall correctly. So the whole Turrican series can be very, very, very confusing. With all its different ports, its different developers that had hands on with the series. Manfred Trenz was the original creator of Turrican and Turrican 2, and then Super Turrican on the NES. And then for some reason, or one reason or another, Factor 5 created their own games as well. I guess they got the license and made some of their own games. And I think they also handled some of the ports to other systems as well of some of the original games. But yeah, it's really interesting stuff when you think about it. And if you're a fan of, you know, video game history and things like that, and various ports of, you know, existing franchises, I highly recommend looking into the Turrican series. Just firing up the Wikipedia article or something like that. There's a lot of interesting information there. And as of doing this video, there were some rumblings that the German division of Factor 5. There's actually multiple divisions of Factor 5 too, and I didn't know this till doing this video, but there was a German division and then an American division, and the American one went out of business a long time ago, but the German one was still around, and they have since reobtained all the rights to the Turrican series and whatnot, and I think they are, you know, as of doing this video, are planning on trying to make a new Turrican entry, or maybe doing some ports or something to modern platforms. Who knows? It's all up in the air at the moment, but we'll see as these years go on. It would be really interesting to see if this Turrican series comes back to life. So this is a mini-boss right here. There's these treadmills that just kind of push you off. What I like to do on this boss is just sit over here to the right, like so. But yeah, lots and lots of really interesting historical information regarding You know, Manfred Trends, the Turrican series in general, some of the other spin-offs like Universal Soldier, which is you know, a Mega Drive and Game Boy version of Turrican 2, based on the movie Universal Soldier. Then you got the Factor 5 developed ones, which are unrelated to Manfred Trends. It's just, it gets really interesting. So I definitely recommend looking up information on it if you're into that sort of thing. So yeah, this is actually our final level. I haven't really talked about it. This is our last level in the game. There's a couple of major boss fights here, and I like this level. You know, it's open again. I'm not as big a fan of these big open stages, but it's not very difficult to navigate through, and the music is awesome. It's still got you know, a fantastic soundtrack. And there's an extra life up there and a heart. Very good. Got it. We're up to 24 lives. And this guy can actually be a little tricky. You have to actually watch out for his behind there. But you got to jump on his back and then get up here like so. We're going to go ahead and just use our bombs for this part. Let's see if we can get back up without dying. There we go. Just like so. You basically have to get on top of him and shoot that little weak spot on his head. Alright, got a heart. So this section, this vertical section, is going to have a lot of these sort of turrets that just shoot out projectiles. You got to watch out for these things. And what I like to do is just come up here and just take them out one by one. Their projectiles, unfortunately, cannot be destroyed, so you've got to watch out for those. Let's see if we can get up here without destroying these things. Oops, messed that up. Just like so. Good stuff. A lot of times I get up here and I get hit by those little popcorn enemies. I'm gonna go ahead and just stick with the multiple shot here. So here's basically our final set of bosses. You gotta hit this guy in the eye. And then he basically opens up this thing, shoots these projectiles at you, and you have to jump off top like this. Watch out for the falling debris. Oops, I always forget about that arm that comes out. Oops. And we're dead. Well, this is a bad showing. I wanted to actually get here and show you exactly what you're supposed to do. But you really gotta wait for him to drop it, and then open it up. He does his projectile attack, and then you have to run across like this. And then you can get down. And he'll open it, and then you can just shoot him in the eyes like this. Run, jump across again, avoid the projectiles. And then watch out for the arm if you can. Here we go, just like so, and just rinse and repeat. And he's dead. Alright, so this is the final boss. So all you have to do is hit this guy in the head. Watch out for these lasers that bounce across the screen. We're gonna go ahead and just use our bombs here. We got 23 lives left. And for this part right here, I basically like to get on the ground and just use my my ball form. And his second form is going to have him teleporting all over the place and shooting a projectile at you. Like so. And what I like to do is kind of wait and see if he gets in the middle and just use my attack like that. And we just killed him. I always get very lazy at the final boss. I mean, I have so many lives by this point. I don't really care about, you know, not dying by this point. So, yeah, that's one of the downsides of Mega Turrican, is by the end of the game, I'm usually kind of burned out, which is unfortunate, just because those last few levels are just very large, and that sort of stage design just doesn't really click with me, personally. It's one reason why I like, while I really, really like Mega Turrican, it's not a series I've really invested a lot of time into. I've just never been a fan of this just huge stage designs like that. And it was even worse for me in the older Turrican games, like Turrican 1, for instance, which I played on the Mega Drive and PC Engine. You know, because the graphics weren't as awesome, the music was nowhere near as cool as it is in Mega Turrican, so, you know, I've never been the biggest fan of the Turrican series as a result. And even Mega Turrican, as much as I really enjoy this game, the last couple levels really do kind of like wear on me. Of course, it's not going to be the same for everyone. There might be folks out there, some of you guys watching might enjoy big open stage designs like that, and so, you know, it might not wear on you guys, but by the final boss in this game, I'm just like, is it over yet? Can we stop? But yeah, that's Mega Turrican from start to finish, guys. I'm glad I finally got around to doing this Let's Play. This is, again, a game I've wanted to cover for a really long time here on this channel, and I'm glad that we've been able to. So, but yeah, I'm actually seeing a lot of names in there that are related to the German arm of Factor 5. So there was a Factor 5 in Germany, then there was Factor 5 Inc. in North America. And I think the North American side is the side that did a lot of the Star Wars games from back in the day, like the Rogue Squadron games, for instance. Like Julian Egebrecht right there is, I've seen his name with the German side, and he still owns, I guess he has recently obtained the rights to Turrican again. So, based on the character created by Manfred Trenz. So the Manfred Trenz basically had nothing to do with Mega Turrican. So, very interesting. This game was created using Pegasus Mega Drive. I'm interested to see what that is. So, but yeah, it's still a great game though. I highly recommend checking this game out. Unfortunately, it's super expensive now, so it's not likely you'll obtain a real legitimate copy of the game. But if you got a flash card, if you do emulation, I recommend just snagging it and playing the ROM of it that way. It is a great game. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a lot of fun. It looks great. It sounds great, and it plays pretty well. So, like I said, it kind of wears on me a little bit towards the end of the game, but I still really enjoy it. I still think it's a great game. So, I wonder if the ending's altered a little bit if you beat the game on hard mode. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to the ending. It's just not a whole lot there. So. But as they say, it's about the journey, not the ending, but a good ending doesn't hurt. I added that a little bit, that last little bit myself, but a good ending never hurts. The end, question, exclamation mark. I wonder if they were ever planning a sequel for this game. So Super Turrican on Super Nintendo did get a sequel as Super Turrican 2, but we never saw a follow-up on the Mega Drive, unfortunately, so. Although, I mean, I guess it could be argued if Super Turrican 2 is actually really worth playing. But we'll see. I plan on covering that game eventually, along with Super Turrican. Both games I have never finished, but I hope to do so someday. So with that, the ending music is cut out, so I'll go ahead and just wrap things up here. As usual, guys, thanks for watching. If you're brand new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I've got a lot of videos here on my channel and many more Let's Plays and live streams and so forth to come in the future. Once again, big shout out to my Patreon backers as well, and if you're interested in supporting this show through Patreon, links are in the description box as always. So that's it, guys. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you soon. So until then, take it easy.